Good morning, East Texas, and happy Friday. We had that winter storm come through last night, and we've already seen most of it move out to our east. A few little bands of snow, sleet, and ice starting to move through the Piney Woods. You can see that out toward Emory and Canton at the moment, but really we are on the back end of the worst of this. It is going to still head out toward parts of Louisiana and out to our east. There is a little snow band that's trying to wrap around, heading out toward Abilene. I'm unsure if it'll make it there. However, here in East Texas, we're still on the back end. We've gotten through the worst of it. But really, where they saw most of this snow and ice was out in Dallas. I'm taking you live outside the DFW airport. You can see a little bit of slick roads out there. Earlier, we had the camera facing the other direction so you could see all of the snow near the roadways. Overall, a very snowy day. I'm going to show you actually what we got in from Dennis, Deer Lake Fork. You can see it looks like some little flurries coming down near the lake there. So kind of a nice wintry start. We had more reports of snow for areas up to the north and out toward North Texas, maybe a few out toward Sulphur Springs and up to the north of I-30. For most of East Texas, we didn't necessarily see widespread snow, but we did have some sleet come down. I can attest to that. I was outside our CBS19 studio yesterday, and I saw those little pellets of ice and sleet coming down. All right, taking you outside right now. This is what we're looking at on live radar. We're going to break it down with what we're seeing. So out to the east toward Shreveport, that's where we're seeing some rain as well as some areas of what we call a winter mix. That's going to be a combination of snow, sleet, ice, and rain. That's what you're seeing here in the pink. But what I'm watching are just these few little pockets out toward Canton, out toward I-30 from Sulphur Springs to Mount Pleasant. That's where we're seeing just a chance for a few little flurries coming down. Nothing that widespread. However, there could be some very light rainfall that's coming down. It's going to come down as a cold rain. I saw it when I came into our CBS19 studio earlier today. Just a light cold, almost like a misty rain, I feel like is the best way to describe it. Those roads could still be slick, so make sure you are driving carefully. You want to make sure that you are getting where you're going safely. I'm going to put this back in motion so you can see there was a little burst of snow coming from Dallas out toward I-20. It kind of stopped and fell apart north of Mexia. Now that it's getting to Canton and to Athens, it does appear that it's falling apart, but I'm not giving up hope. I do think that we could see potentially a flurry or two throughout the rest of the morning. This would be all before the sun comes up today. Nothing widespread. We're talking about a flake or two coming down for areas north of I-20, mainly out toward I-30. It looks like Mount Pleasant and areas toward the Arklatex have the best shot of seeing one or two little flurries skirting through the Piney Woods. Most of us, though, are out of the woods when it comes to this rainy system. Some clouds sticking with us, especially over deep East Texas this morning. By the time we get to maybe 7, 8 o'clock, all of that is clearing out and we are just left with clouds. However, as we get to the afternoon, we are switching our focus over to the wind. It's going to get downright windy in the Piney Woods as we get into the afternoon, and that is going to be a biting cold wind as it comes out of the north. It's going to usher in bone-chilling air and really take our temperatures down to frigid levels tonight. In the meantime, though, I have to tell you about our winter storm alerts. We have a winter storm warning in effect for the counties highlighted in pink. This has been shifted, so it's mainly out to the east. It does still include Smith County. It stretches out toward the Arklatex and out toward parts of Louisiana. Winter weather advisory. There were a few counties that were in this that were dropped. Now just the counties highlighted in purple. These both are in effect until noon today, so we have a few more hours left on that. I think we're out of the woods for the most part, but they still have those alerts in place just to make sure that we are staying weather aware. All right. What we're looking at, if you're stepping outside right now, I'm keeping a close eye on these temperatures. Out toward Mount Pleasant and Sulphur Springs, our temperatures are right at the freezing mark out there. Same up toward Denton and Plano, below freezing. And where we have that colder air is where we have a chance of seeing some sort of flurry coming through. Everywhere where we're seeing those above freezing temperatures toward Henderson, Tyler, and toward Longview, we're just a few degrees above that 32 mark. It's going to be hard for us to necessarily see any flurries. We may get some sleet coming through. I doubt that. It's going to be mainly areas along I-30. Let me show you why. Because when we have any sort of precipitation, rain, sleet, snow, you name it, it comes out of the clouds. pretty much as a frozen piece of ice, and then it melts as it falls through the atmosphere. Now, if we have this layer of, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it warm air at the surface. We're just talking about any air that is above freezing. That's going to melt it, and it's coming down more so as rain rather than anything cold. What we need for snow, we need the entire layer of the atmosphere to be at or below freezing. So that's why we're looking at areas along I-30 where we're already seeing that freezing mark for the potential for a few isolated flurries. All right, if you're headed out on the roadways today, I know many of us are probably heading out to Arlington for the Cotton Bowl, so make sure that you are driving carefully. This morning, we could have some light snow for areas up to the north. The showers are pretty much out of here. We may see a little bit more of a light, misty rain, a few pockets of heavier rain, maybe a little bit of sleet out there. But isolated slick spots, most of the roads will be good to go. This afternoon, it will be cloudy and breezy. The wind is going to be the biggest impact for you, but most of the roads should be fine. Now, tonight, we have cold air coming in. Now, we're going down into the 20s later this afternoon and evening. We have cold air rushing in that's creating widespread freezes across the piney woods. That means that if there's any remaining puddles on the roadways, those will freeze. Make sure, of course, that you are staying weather aware. Alrighty, now I'm gonna go back to our radar so we can see what's going on here. We have to go back through all of our graphics. I apologize, just bear with me for a second. Alrighty, this is our live radar. And once again, it's going to be areas along I-30 where we do have a chance to see some of that snow potentially this morning. We have our reporter Jesus Martinez. He's out there right now in Mount Pleasant giving us a look at kind of what is happening and what we can see on the ground, because what we're seeing on the radar, we always like to make sure that we are getting a ground check. All right, I'm going to throw things over to Jesus Martinez. Hey, Jesus. You look cold. How's it feeling out there?
Yeah, it's a little chilly. Good morning, Sarah, and good morning to everyone watching on our streaming channel right now. Like I mentioned, it's cold right now, completely different from what it looked like if you guys were with us at 10 o'clock last night. This whole area last night was filled with a whole bunch of ice, sleet. You could have even made it a mini roller skating rink if you wanted to. Right now, it's all melted. We also showed you this tree out here. Parts of it is frozen still, but you can see some drips in there slowly melting away. However, some areas are still frozen. I want to show you this plant right here. It's pretty cool what happens whenever, you know, what Mother Nature does her thing and freezes over Texas where we're not used to it. A lot of these plants frozen over. This little pot right here frozen over. And if you want to, Robert, if you want to come over and show the viewers, this whole ice right here, frozen solid like a rock. So this is going to take a while to melt. But right now, Sarah, out on the roadways, we haven't ventured out quite yet. We're barely making our way out to see what this morning has looked like, but so far we haven't heard of any major crashes overnight, nothing major. However, Mount Pleasant ISD is closed for the day for good reason. A lot of these side streets, neighborhood streets and streets where school districts and schools are, haven't been pre-treated. The ones that were pre-treated were the main roads like the one behind me, Highway 155, 271, Interstate 30 as well, those overpasses here in Mount Pleasant. But it's those side streets that cause a lot of school districts in our area to cancel classes. That's because, again, they weren't pre-treated. So they want to make sure parents are safe, school bus drivers are safe going out and about. And like I mentioned, they made that decision last night to go ahead and cancel school for today. Even though we didn't see any snow or much, we saw a couple of flurries yesterday. Hopefully we'll see some more today. But thankfully right now things seem to be improving heading to this morning, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Jesus, and hope you guys are staying warm out there. Now, we do have the chance for maybe a little bit of a flurry toward Mount Pleasant. I'm sure that Jesus will keep us updated if there is anything out there, but otherwise, we are mostly in the clear. However, there could be some dangerous road conditions. We have a Drive Safe Texas map. You can see it on your screen. The areas that you're seeing that gray symbol pop up, that's where there have been reports of ice and snow on the roads. So we're seeing tons of them out toward the Dallas and Fort Worth area, especially for areas north of that. A few more starting to stretch out to the east toward Winsboro, maybe a few in Mount Pleasant. Jesus said that he didn't see a ton of widespread freezing out there or any icy roads, but really most of that is going to stay up just to the north of our area, north of I-30. Again, we are seeing a few out toward the North Texas area and even south of Fort Worth. But just make sure, of course, that you are driving carefully on those roadways. And just like I mentioned, I might have started driving out west to the Cotton Bowl. Please make sure that you are driving carefully. Alrighty, now we do have an update on some power outages. As that storm came through, there were some power outages that came through. This is a look at what our most recent update is. We checked this at 3:30, so the numbers could be slightly different and changed in the past couple minutes. But really, what we're seeing, Bowie County, around 14,000 power outages out to Titus County, over 2,000 power outages. Cherokee County, about 1,500 power outages. In Nacogdoches, about 1,000. Smith County, we haven't seen quite as many power outages, only about 89. But if you want to get a check on the latest power outages for your area, you can check the word POWER. That's POWER to 903-600-2600. All right, I'm going to switch you back over to radar. That way we can see what's going on out there. Again, not much at this point. We're kind of on the back end of it all. Now, tonight, like I said, our gears are switching because it's going to get cold and windy. So let me just show you what the rest of the day is going to look like. So here, maybe a chance of a few flurries, sleet, maybe some rain. I'm not thinking anything widespread this morning. We will steadily warm up, but we're going to be fighting some pretty dense clouds, only up to 39 degrees this afternoon. But then after 4, maybe even 3 o'clock, our winds are going to pick up. And that's going to drive in all of this cold air. And now I mentioned this before, the wind is coming directly out of the north and the northwest. That's going to bring in frigid, bone-chilling air. So it's going to be one of those biting winds. So that's going to pick up, like I said, later this afternoon. That's going to keep our temperatures mainly in the 30s today. 39 in Tyler and in Longview, maybe a 40 degree up toward Mount Pleasant, mainly 30s across the Piney Woods. Crockett, Nacogdoches, and Lufkin could hit the low 40s. But as we get into the evening tonight, winds are going to pick up, and that's going to drive all of this frigid air into our region. That's going to create some widespread freezes. Here's what we're looking at overnight. Keep an eye on your city. Most of us are dropping into the mid to low 20s. Sulphur Springs all the way down into the teens tonight. 22 in Mineola, Longview down to 23, 24 in Nacogdoches, and 24 in Crockett. Lufkin falling all the way down to 25 tonight. 23 in Marshall. Look at all of those widespread freezes. It is very cold. So if you do not have power tonight, I hope that you can go stay with a friend or find a warm space, because it is going to be dangerously cold tonight. Like I said, widespread freezes. Make sure that you are remembering the 4 Ps: people, pets, pipes, and plants. You need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Bundle up. Like I said, if you are still without power, please find a warm place to go tonight. You can check out the warming centers, a friend, family member. It is going to be dangerously cold tonight, so make sure you are keeping yourself safe. Bring your pets inside. It is going to be dangerously cold for them as well. Your dogs and your cats, it's not okay for them to be outside. They will have some sort of frostbite as this comes through. Also, if you have outdoor animals with cows, chickens, pigs, anything like that, go ahead and bring them inside a barn. And if you can lay down some extra hay or put blankets on them to keep them warm, that's going to help significantly. A good idea, you want to cover your pipes or drip your pipes, whatever your preferred method is, because there's a chance those could freeze tonight. And then cover your plants. I know that most of our plants have probably been kicked as we've had all these cold temperatures in, but like I said, this one is going to be extra frigid. So make sure that you are taking precautions and keeping yourself and your loved ones safe. All right, I'm going to give you a look at the next 7 days. 39 is our high today. We're dropping down, like I said, into the mid-20s. 50 degrees tomorrow. We do have a steady warm-up coming, which is going to help us significantly. So make sure, of course, that you are staying dry and safe. We'll steadily warm up over the next several hours. Looking ahead to next week, I think that we could make it into the 60s. All right, I'm monitoring our Facebook comments right now. A few of you guys are up early. Thank you guys so much for joining us at 4. I'm seeing some questions about the roadways from Jillian. Hi, Jillian. Let me go ahead and pull up what we're expecting. So the roads today, we have seen some slick spots, not widespread icing. Maybe for areas north of I-30, some slicker, icier spots, but for areas along I-20 and through deep East Texas, you're mainly just going to deal with wet roadways. There could be a few isolated areas of ice, but nothing widespread. We could, like I said, see some light snow early this morning, but the showers are going to be ending. Isolated slick spots. Most of the roads that you're driving on will be fine. Just make sure that, of course, you are driving slowly, take it slow, and just use your precautions and common sense when you're driving. This afternoon, if you're heading out, the roads should mostly be dry. Now, it will be cloudy and cold and breezy, but that's not going to really impact your driving conditions all that much, other than, of course, you know, making sure that you are bundling up and trying to keep yourself warm and safe. Tonight, like I said, that's when our focus is shifting to the cold air. There is a chance that if there is some ice or some puddling still left, that those areas could freeze over and we can get those slick, icy spots out there. And of course, if there is any water on overpasses or bridges, that is going to be what is first to freeze. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be widespread. Most of us are just seeing isolated spots of that. And actually, are we able to pull back up that Drive Texas map? This is where you can see if we have any areas that are reporting icy roadways according to TxDOT. I believe we have that up. Our control room is working on pulling that Drive Texas map back up to give you an update. All right, I'm getting a question from Tyler saying that you have to drive to Houston. How are Harrison County and Montgomery County? So if you're heading out to Houston, things are looking significantly drier out there and better if you are heading out to the south. So if you're heading out toward Houston County, really not a ton of icing out there. You should be good to go. And hey, Denise, are we able to pull up that Drive Texas map again? Thank you so much. But really, it's going to be this, if you're heading out early, that's when it's not going to be the best. All right, there we go. This is what we're seeing. The areas that you're seeing, like that little gray area, that's where we're getting reports of some ice and snow on the roads. For areas down south, we haven't gotten any reports of that according to TxDOT. So just make sure that you are driving carefully. Alrighty, and I think that's it. I don't have anything else to update you guys on. We're going to go ahead and leave you with what we're seeing now. I'll have more updates for you at 5 o'clock. Please make sure that you are staying warm and safe, and thank you so much for joining us on the CBS19 live stream. You can join us on air and online at 5 o'clock for Morning Y'all with me, Dana Huey, and Mariah Condiff. Hope you guys are staying safe and warm.